Hello everyone, my name is Jack Chirico, and this is my 6x16 cooking class video. Today, we will be making a simple and nutritious meal called butter chicken. Butter chicken is a relatively new dish to Canada, so I thought this one would be perfect to demonstrate, as not everyone may know how to cook it. As you can see here, these are the ingredients we will be using for the dish, as well as the materials and equipment that will be necessary. First things first with any recipe, make sure to wash those hands. I washed my hands every time before and after handling any kind of food, but I made sure I was especially careful with the raw chicken, as it is infamous for posing foodborne illnesses like salmonella. An easy way to make sure you're washing your hands thoroughly enough is by singing happy birthday to yourself while you wash your hands, or doing it for 30 seconds. And don't forget to use warm water and soap. So we're going to start off by cutting up our chicken into cubed or bite-sized pieces. For this recipe, I use both chicken breast and chicken thighs. The difference between the two is the thighs have a little bit more fat, and so you get more flavor. While I'm cutting up the chicken, I'm also making sure to skin off any excess fat pieces that I don't necessarily want to eat because they're kind of gross. While you watch this time lapse of me cutting up the chicken, I'd like to provide some nutrition information about the dish and tell you exactly what makes it perfect for the 6x16 program. To start, the butter chicken recipe is perfectly balanced, flavorful, and nutrient-packed, with lean protein from the chicken, a creamy tomato-based sauce full of vitamins A and C, and the option to pair with whole grains like brown rice or naan. Plus, it's a great introduction into Indian-inspired cooking. Simple enough for young chefs and rich in bold, comforting flavors. Whether you're meal prepping or enjoying it fresh, this dish hits all the right spots. Once you've got all that chicken cubed up and placed into a bowl, add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the mix, along with 2 tablespoons of butter chicken paste. It doesn't really matter what you use for the paste, but I use Patak's as that's what we usually have around the house. Once those ingredients are mixed in, you can begin to get them ready for the oven. Once your chicken's all sauced up, head over towards the oven and preheat the oven to 375 Fahrenheit. And don't forget to turn your fan on, because it's going to be a fragrant dish. Once you've got that chicken on a tray, make sure to spread it out so that the pieces can cook evenly and that they don't get stuck together. You don't have to go too crazy, just make sure that they're all individual. Next, we're going to prepare the rice. You can use basmati rice, jasmine, doesn't matter. For this one, I use basmati though. Before you cook your rice, remember to rinse it thoroughly to remove excess starch and get fluffy, non-sticky rice. You can actually save the starchy water to water your plants with later, as the starch contains great nutrients for these growing plants. But for the sake of the video and convenience, I didn't end up saving the water. Alright, so now we're going to wash our rice. I'm going to wash it into a bowl just so you can see the difference between the starchy water at the beginning and how clear it gets by the end. It's good practice to wash your rice about 3 times, like rinse it 3 times. That way you don't miss any starch. And as you can see here, the difference in the starchiness of the water has greatly declined, meaning our rice is good to go and you can start cooking it. Once your rice is strained, you can place it into the pot that you'll be cooking with. I'm going to be cooking with a pressure cooker, so this is the pot for that. And the amount of water you're going to want to add is always going to try and be equal. So I did 3 cups of rice, so I'm going to do equal parts 3 cups of water. And in the next clip, you're going to watch me almost destroy my rice cooker.
No, stop!
All right, take two. So you're gonna place that pot into the pressure cooker, make sure that's locked, and the one I have is pretty simple. You just have to click the rice button. Now that our rice is done, we're gonna let that sit and focus back on the chicken. Just coming over here to the oven to make sure it's up to heat, and bam, there it is. Once your oven's at the right temperature, place the pan of chicken onto the middle tray so that it gets an even cook all the way through. And you can use your phone for this if you'd like, but I'm gonna set a timer for 25 minutes so that we don't lose track of the chicken. For our first sauce ingredient, we're gonna cut up one whole small onion. And be careful, they do actually make your eyes water. A cool tip my dad showed me after I bawled my eyes out is putting a wet cloth next to the onion to absorb the vapors. When you're cutting up your onion, you wanna make sure you're cutting it into small pieces so that it can saute in the pan with the butter later on. Also, if you make note of the knife I'm using in the video, it has little ridges on it, which is supposed to stop anything from sticking to it while you cut through. While I have you here, I also want to talk about the importance of the 6x16 program. The program is all about empowering young people to develop essential cooking skills by the age of 16. And in other words, know 6 recipes by the age of 16. Learning how to prepare 6 simple, nutritious meals not only builds confidence in the kitchen, but also fosters independence and a healthier lifestyle. Because today, in a world of Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes, knowing how to cook gives kids the tools to make smarter choices, save money, and explore creativity with food. And it's undeniably more fun than ordering in. Once you've got those onions sliced and diced, you can move over to your butter. For this recipe, I'm going to use 2/3 of a cup, and you can actually tell exactly how much butter you're going to use by the little dial in the back. It might seem like I'm using a lot of butter in this video, and that's because it is, hence the name Butter Chicken, but it's also supposed to feed 6 people, so it's not that bad. Once you've got a chunk of butter, place that into your saucepan and get it ready for the sauteing. We're gonna melt the butter and saute the onions on medium to high heat, just so that it's quick and so that we don't burn the butter.
Oh, not your finger.
And just as I finished those steps, my rice cooker said it was done. I didn't actually catch it on video, but the back of it was blows some steam out to relieve some of the pressure that it was cooking with. It's pretty cool. Once the butter is all melted, you can go ahead and throw those onions in there. When you're sauteing the onions, you don't want to caramelize them, like you don't want them to turn brown, nor the butter. You just want the onions to become sort of translucent and melt into the butter. It looks like the chicken we baked is done, so let's pull that out. I cut into a couple pieces to make sure they were done, but you could also use a meat thermometer. It doesn't really matter. Now that those onions are all melted nicely together, we can add the rest of the ingredients. I'm adding 1 big heap of the garam masala powder. A tablespoon of curry powder. I got this from Big Red Market. And 3 more big scoops of the pataks. I typically use half the jar per recipe. And that's almost all the ingredients for our sauce, so I'm going to give that a mix. A large element of this dish is actually the tomato sauce. The less flavorful the tomato sauce, the better. It's kind of good to just have it as a base. So for this one, I'm going to use the Hunt's, and I'm going to use 1 whole can of it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that into our sauce and give it a good mix. And last but not least, I'm going to top it off with some cream just to give it that nice light color. I only added a little bit in this clip, but I actually added more after the camera stopped rolling because I didn't think I added enough. Just look at that nice orange color we're getting. Delicious. A nice touch I like to add is by throwing the chicken juices back into the juice. That way it's just more tasty. So you can go ahead and just throw the chicken from the pan into the pot. I picked it up with the parchment paper. That way it was just a quick, easy transfer, no mess, and then I don't have to clean that pan after. So we'll give that a good mix in, and then we're going to kill the heat ever so slightly, just bring it to a simmer to keep everything hot and sort of melt everything together. Oh, steamy. Once you've completed those steps, you're ready to enjoy this meal. I treated my family as well as my girlfriend to this dish, and they all enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good understanding about the 6x16 program and that you learned something new today. Enjoy! And as you can see by the reactions on their faces and plates, it was delicious.